News 13 inside Las Vegas at 5 is on K News Radio, AM 970.
So well. Good morning, everyone. 20 years ago today, these doors behind us opened up onto a brand new era in morning television.
We are in the back hall, just outside our studio, and on the walls, so many memories for us. 20 years of memories, pictures taken, over 20 years of pursuing our charge, of bringing you news in the morning, information you can use, we hope in an entertaining way.
And the people in these pictures have become our family. And although some of the faces may have changed a bit over the years, what hasn't changed is how we start our day.
It is always such a privilege. The first words we say on camera every morning are,
"Good morning, America. I'm Joan London."
And I'm Charles Gibson. It is Friday, November 3rd, 1995.
And I'm Spencer Christian, and what a special day this is.
It is really
we celebrate
a special day for
our
us.
20th anniversary.
Come on in the studio with us this morning. You're going to meet a lot of people today who have made this broadcast what it is. People in our past, people in our present.
And the music that you are hearing is also 20 years old today, and it was composed by Mr. Marvin Hamlish.
Marvin Hamlish has created a lot of classics in America. Did the score to a chorus line, The Way We Were, but his greatest work, as far as we're concerned, just four notes, all built around four notes.
You got it. And what a treat it is to have with us the man who created our theme this morning. He'll be playing for us throughout the morning.
Now, it is built around four notes.
Absolutely.
In all fairness.
Yes.
Minute and a half, 2 minutes? How long did it take to do it?
I had to say it took longer than that, but not a long day, not a long day. But it was a lot of fun.
But did you ever imagine that morning when you were thinking up those notes that it would become so well known, the wake up to so many people?
I had gotten a call from a fellow by the name of Robert Shanks.
Sure.
And I met him in an elevator in the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. And so he had the show that he was starting up, called Good Morning America. And I decided I was going to write a theme that I would like to wake up to. That's how the thing was written.
The big question is, since so many millions have awakened to this tune for so many years, how much have you made in royalties?
That's on Moneyline.
You don't have to answer that one.
Marvin's going to be here with us this morning playing music. These are the people over here that are really critical of us.
Look at these
Have them
faces.
here. Arthur? Hello. Hi, dear. How are you?
Oh, my God.
My hero.
Hi, buddy.
My hero.
How are you? Good to see you.
Hi.
You look so great.
Nancy's good to see you. Hi, dear. How are you? Thank you. We've never met, but it is such a privilege to have you here.
I will. Okay.
Oh, we'll talk about that. Hello, Doctor.
How you doing? All right.
Hello, Harvey. Wolf. What a coat. What a coat, Wolfgang.
Going on all morning, obviously. It's been so many years since we have seen so many of these faces.
This is really wonderful. We talk about it as family, but it really is.
Walking down memory lane.
We feel such a common allegiance to this broadcast as well as a friendship. We're all going to sort of take the morning off, have a terrific party. We want you to join us this morning. There is one person who has to work today.
But he's going to come over later.
That's right. With the news in the morning, here's Morton Dean.
I feel as if I'm playing the lounge, Charlie, and there's this big party going. Thank you very much and happy anniversary. Good morning, everyone. The U.S. is giving an eviction notice to one of the world's largest banks, Japan's Daiwa Bank. The order to close Daiwa's U.S. operations in 3 months follows an indictment that accuses the bank and its top managers of hiding more than $1 billion in bond trading losses.
This investigation has followed a complicated paper trail involving false record keeping, removal of financial records, and other attempts to avoid law enforcement detection of criminal activity. As complicated as the schemes used to avoid detection were, this is a case of cover-up, pure and simple.
Daiwa is feeling the impact of the indictment at home as well. That part of the story from ABC's Mark Litke in Tokyo.
The unprecedented action against a Japanese bank dominated the news here today. In Osaka, Daiwa's president said his bank would make an orderly withdrawal from the U.S. market as ordered, but he said the bank would fight the criminal indictment, still insisting there was no official cover-up of the bank's losses. Japanese government officials appeared less certain of that. The Minister of Finance expressed his deep regret for what he called the inappropriate business operations of Daiwa's management. Daiwa was then ordered not to open any new overseas offices and to halt its dealings in foreign currency. Clearly, officials are concerned about the image of Japan's entire financial system. Banks here are already struggling to cope with an estimated $400 billion in bad real estate loans. A Bank of Japan official said today the Daiwa case is unique and will not affect other banks, but hoping to reassure the international financial community, he promised more cooperation with foreign regulators in the future to monitor the activities of Japanese banks abroad, who are all in danger of being tarnished by this affair. Normally, a development like this would have sent shockwaves through Japanese stock and currency markets, but fortunately for Japan, today is a holiday. All the markets closed until Monday. Mark Litke, ABC News, Tokyo.
In the House, a vote to let the Environmental Protection Agency keep doing its job the way it does it now. The House voting to scrap 17 measures favored by Republican leaders that would have restricted the powers of the EPA. On the attack again, President Clinton, the target again, the Republican budget. Last night, Mr. Clinton telling a group of Jewish Democrats that the budget's approach to Medicare and Medicaid is fundamentally flawed.
The reason the budget fight is important is because it violates our values and it will undermine our future, what they are trying to do. I don't know about you, but my idea of America in the 21st century is not wrecking the Medicare program and being tougher on the oldest, the poorest, and the sickest senior citizens in this country.
The president has threatened to veto the Republican budget, which he said last night is based on extremist theory. Will she or won't she? The Senate Whitewater Committee wants First Lady Hillary Clinton to testify voluntarily. The White House says she won't. Republicans have questions about whether Mrs. Clinton impeded the investigation of Vincent Foster's papers after his suicide. A subpoena is being considered. The Philippines get a lot of storms, but it has been 20 years since they've had anything as powerful as Angela. The typhoon's 125-mile-an-hour winds ripped off roofs, damaged ships, and left Manila blacked out. At least 35 people are dead, and 200,000 are homeless. And that is ABC News on the Hour on this anniversary day at 7 minutes after. 20 years. Lasts longer than some marriages I know. I meant mine.
No names will be mentioned.
Time flies when you're having a good time, Mort. Usually this is the time for Spencer Christian with the National Weather Forecast.
But long before Spencer ever knew the difference between a cold front and cold feet, John Coleman had it all mapped out.
You came to see the weather map? We have it. Dense fog, London, Kentucky to Pittsburgh. The East Coast is beautiful. And our computer scan this morning is to show you where yesterday's highs topped out in the 60s.
Wow, and now here he is, the man who started it all, the man who paved the way for me. It's great to see you again, John.
Spencer, my friend, I've come all the way from California. And by the way, I think I'm going to get the prize for the person who came for the greatest distance for the reunion.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen the prize.
We got that for you later, John.
I came all the way from California because I wanted to say thank you and goodbye.
That's about how long the weather will last.
No. The point is, when you get fired, you never get to say goodbye.
Oh.
I really appreciate you watching. Really, the viewers across America are wonderful, and it was great to be your weatherman for all those years, and thank you. And goodbye!
But you know what, John? The funny thing is, all those who were in charge in those days have been fired, too.
Oh, yeah.
They're all gone, too.
Oh, yeah.
They're out of here.
Yeah. They're still buddies of mine.
Will you give me a hand with the weather today?
Oh, yeah. The most important thing is it's a wonderful day between Thursday and Saturday when the boss begins to lose control and we get giddy. It's Friday!
There you go.
Here comes the weekend. Thank God.
Go to the map. John's going to tell you what's happening across the nation today.
Well, the big storm is pushing toward the east. The cold front will cut through New York City and Philadelphia and Boston today. Temperatures will drop 30 degrees amid showers and thunderstorms. The storms will reach North Florida. The west will finally clear out after a rainy week.
And it's going to be chilly in the north central states with a deepening pool of cold air in the central U.S. And now, here's a look at the weather in some of John Coleman's favorite towns.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandy Grace. We are seeing mostly clear skies this morning over southern Nevada. A little bit of cloud cover in California. Shouldn't affect us too much, though. We'll see partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies throughout the day today. We're looking for a high of 69 degrees. Winds from the northeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour. A little bit more breezy, though, out at the lake and at Mount Charleston, with gusts steady to 20 miles per hour, and might even see some gusts to 30. Tomorrow, this is the big change. That system's not going to be hitting us. We will not see rain. We are looking for mostly sunny skies. In fact, 69 degrees for a high, might even reach the 70s in some areas of the valley. And for the next few days, we are going to see some very pleasant fall-like temperatures. We are looking for 60s, upper 60s to low 70s throughout the weekend with partly cloudy skies, and then we will be back up into the 70s as we start the work week. Have a great day and have a great weekend, everyone.
John Coleman left this broadcast in 1983, and he has 12 years of pent-up energy. Time flies when you are having fun or when you are doing morning television.
The world has changed a lot since 1975, and so has Good Morning America.
We had 3 weeks from the moment, really, we kind of knew we were going to do this until we went on the air. We didn't have time to think about except, are we going to be able to get a 2-hour program on?
Good Morning America.
President Ford decided picture Jaws is...
Good morning, Sandy.
And also most
Americans from the Bowery, I'm Geraldo Rivera. Peace and good morning, America.
don't turn out your
You've been trying to.
Well, today, Spencer, how's the weather?
Make sure you put it right there. This is my daughter, Jamie. Good morning, America.
Wow. David Hill's run. Ow! That is Good morning, Joan. Good morning, everyone.
Frank Gifford with Kathy Lee Johnson.
Pretty strong cold front.
You ever talked to the public before?
You think you put in enough ribbon?
I gotta win.
After you knock off their...
Joel Segan's legal tips.
Anything can happen.
Charlie Gibson joins us. I want that tie to go.
Hey, good morning, everyone, from Dublin, Ireland.
You're back in Stockholm. We are in Edinburgh, Scotland.
An amazing amount of history has taken place over the last 20 years.
We were there for all of it, of course, and we've got this Good Morning America time capsule to give you a sense of it.
I don't look back and say, oh, if I'd only said this, if I'd only fired this one earlier.
5 hours from right now, Jimmy Carter will become the 39th President of the United States.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
At noon today, Ronald Reagan will become the President of the United States.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear.
What's your message to young people who might be confronted with drugs by their peers?
Just say no. You just say no.
Can you hear me, Mr. Barry?
Yes, do you want stuff with one from the horses?
Yes, I would.
Good morning, David. Good morning, America. This is Alan Conwell.
I do.
Were you trading arms for hostages?
No. In no way.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Charles Gibson, and it is Inauguration Day.
It is Inauguration Day.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
Thanksgiving week with the truth.
Just a few hours from now, William Jefferson Clinton will be sworn in.
I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear.
Yesterday Some of our pals here sitting around us, Steve Bell, who did the news on this broadcast for 127 years and doesn't look a day older. Right. Kathleen Sullivan, who was with us for so many years and started World News This Morning with Steve. Tim Johnson, who has reported on medical news for us. Arthur Miller, who has been our legal correspondent for so long, still has that same vest, never gets rid of it.
But I heard a story. I heard a story that when you were first offered the job, Steve, that you really didn't want to take it.
Listen,
is that true, and why?
This had such a great reputation after a year of AM America that when I was offered the job, my colleagues said, "Oh, you're a White House correspondent. Don't leave the White House for 13 weeks."
You didn't think it would last?
Well, I liked the format, even then.
And you spent many, many years out in the field and in the studio. What do you think was the most important story that you really remember the most?
Well, the one I remember most from here was a day that I was here in New York subbing for David, and wakened at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the hostage rescue attempt in Iran had just failed. And so, of course, we threw away the entire script, as you know well. And you know, the thing that was that the two teams, back then, divided teams, the entertainment producers and the news producers, everybody went together, and by 7 o'clock, we went on the air live with the President of the United States. Ted, as I recall, was subbing for me in Washington, and he did the news block. Then we had the Prime Minister of Iran live, and the first word on what was going to happen to our hostages.
Kathleen, it's the spontaneity of it all. It's so much fun. Making it up as you go along.
Oh, I remember, I look at Steve and I think of all those days we had to update. Because we'd update for every region. Yeah. Remember when we did, Steve, we updated Guam?
Yes.
What time was that, 2:30 in the afternoon?
I thought it was 4.
Tim, most important story, I'm sure you're going to say AIDS.
Absolutely AIDS, and I recall when we first talked about it on this program in February of 1982, it happened that a Boston Globe columnist was surveying morning television, and he criticized in his next column the next morning our picking that topic as sensational, not having any real medical significance. I wrote him a little private letter and I said, you can have your view of morning television, but I predict this is going to turn out to be one of the most significant medical problems this country's faced. And to his credit, year after year, he apologized. He did a column on his biggest mistakes and put that one right at the top of the list.
And Arthur, my lord, we've seen you every day for the last year because of OJ.
It's easy to say O.J. Simpson because of the drama, but I don't think so. I think I'd say it was the confirmation hearings of now Justice Clarence Thomas, because it raised the integrity of the court and the integrity of the process. And Anita Hill's allegations caused us to debate, really for the first time, the whole question of the relationship between the sexes in the workplace.
And he really started doing legal affairs on television way back then. But before we go any further,
we got to get the Godfather in here.
We got to bring the gentleman who was so synonymous with Good Morning America from its very inception through the first 11 years. He's really the father of Good Morning America, all family members. I'm talking about David Hartman.
Right.
Steve,
stay here.
We got room for everybody.
My partner.
David, your suits look like they fit a little bit better now, though.
You know, he says my partner, but these two used to bicker all the time in the morning. Redskins, Giants, Redskins, Giants, constantly.
And do you know who beat the Redskins this past year? Oh, gosh. Was it the Giants?
Do you want to compare records for the last 20 years?
Oh, now.
Listen, given what's happened, guys, you don't debate anymore which team's better. You debate which team is worse at the moment. But
no, that's right.
Most memorable stories for you when you come back?
There are too many to say because there are so many that are more than memorable. However, some come to mind. Christmas of '76, this gentleman had an idea to see if we could get President-elect Carter and Vice President-elect Mondale. And so a day or two after Christmas, Sea Island, Georgia, blizzards up and down the East Coast, we did a whole 2 hours,
right?
Full 2 hours with Mr. Mondale and Mr. Carter.
The entire cabinet elect.
And
the cabinet to
select,
be.
Yeah, exactly. The next one that comes to mind is Rajiv Gandhi. 6 months after he became Prime Minister of India, his mother had been assassinated, went over and spent a day with the Prime Minister. Tragically, he was assassinated in 1991. And the third story that comes to mind, of course, is Muammar Gaddafi after the United States bombed Libya. So these were very exciting interviews, and in some cases, unfortunately, tragic in the case of Rajiv Gandhi.
Well, David is going to be staying with us all morning long. It is such a treat to have you back.
Good to see you.
Professor Bell, it is great to see you.
Yes.
We'll explain about that in a minute. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with our special 20th anniversary edition of Good Morning America.
25 after right now, Charles Gibson with us this morning in Washington with ABC News. Charles, hi, good morning.
Good morning, David. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration has imposed a record $155,000 in fines.
Hello, I'm Governor Bill Clinton of Arkansas. Good morning, America.
Hillary and I want to congratulate you on your 20th anniversary. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary too, and we hope that you and we have many more. From the White House, good morning, America.
Oh, that's just great. Good morning, everyone. I'm Joe London.
To see him back doing it
yes.
in his old job, but now in his new job as well. It is great to have you with us on this Friday, November 3rd, 20 years to the day since Good Morning America first hit the airwaves. Marvin Hamlish, you hear playing in the background with us this morning. He created the musical theme that has helped make our show one singular sensation.
Hey.
How do you like that coordination? That's better than we normally can pull off.
And we are standing in front of something that has been with us for years, and we have an autograph wall. This is no ordinary graffiti. This is it's a collection of signatures of every world leader and celebrity over the last 20 years.
Adrian, let me get you to pan down. Right here. No, let me stand right here.
Can you see this?
This is Sylvia, Queen of Sweden, when she was on. I remember when Spencer gave her a big kiss on the cheek, and she looked so startled.
Carly Simon.
It is terrific. There's a lot of memories on these walls for us.
In this half hour, we are going to take a look back at some of those stars before their signatures were considered collector's items, back at the beginning of their careers. Just to name it a few: Roseanne, Jessica Lange, David Letterman, Oprah Winfrey. I could go on and on.
And also ahead, our Good Morning America showbiz stars, Joel Siegel, Rona Barrett, and Chantal will all be here reflecting on the changing face of Hollywood over the last 20 years. This is a terrific day for us, but right now Morton Dean is going to bring us back to earth. Has the latest news in the morning, Mort.
We'll join the party, I'm told, a little bit later on. Thank you, everyone, and good morning again, America. One of Japan's studio, the party goes on.
Mort, among the very special guests who've joined us over the years, Bill Murray has joined us here at Good Morning America many times. He's even helped me at my weather maps, giving a whole new meaning to the phrase fair weather friend. Watch this. Now, storms. Bill, we got storms over here in the east. We got heavy rain all the way, right. Heavy rainfall from the Tennessee Valley all the way up into the northeast. Big, powerful thunderstorms breaking out there. Look out for some flash flooding. But sunny skies back in the plains and in the west. Sunny, right. And we got relief coming to the southern plains. Powerful thunderstorms today, but behind those fronts and those storms, cooler, drier temperatures and sunny skies. Well, looks like we might want to prepare for another bit of stormy weather. He's here again. he's here again. Put it in there, put it in there, put it in there. Let him see what he's doing. Let him see what he's doing. You know, this isn't the first time you've done the weather, but you actually played a weatherman in a movie, Groundhog Day.
Yes, I'm not really a weatherman, but just in film.
Did working with me help prepare you for that film?
Well, no, because well, you're unusual. Most weathermen or women have lots and lots of hairspray on, and you've got a naturally curly thing going here, which I just couldn't possibly do. That's why I'm going with the ordinary weatherman thing with the big cowboy hat.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this weather, Bill. High temperatures today. Looks like it's getting a little chilly here in the nation's midsection. Look at all that.
Yeah, it's all blue here. That's
20s,
blue fingers and
30s,
right
and 40s.
in here.
Yeah, about 20 degrees below normal in the central states. Over in the east and the southeast, still quite warm.
It's all very warm in here, very warm. If you want to live in a warm place, go down here. It's warm over here, too. Don't live in here. It's real cold.
The outlook calls for sunny skies in the plains, the Rockies,
Look at this, John.
the
Who wants to
Mississippi
live
Valley.
over here?
Scattered showers up and down the Atlantic coast.
This is terrible.
Heavy rainfall in parts
Why
of the
not over
southeast.
here? Look at it over here. This is nice. All of this is good.
And some snow over here over the northern plains and the upper Mississippi Valley. Hell of a job, Bill.
It's going to get really cold in New York, isn't it?
It is.
What do you do? What do our bridge and tunnel people do, the toll keepers? How do you make them speed up when the temperature changes in the middle of the night?
They just wave you on through. You don't even have to stick your arm out the window and pay.
Your lips to his ears, Spencer. Okay, everybody coming into Manhattan today, just keep on moving. Don't even slow down. Go right on through. Honk the horn and flash the lights. This one's on Spencer. Come on, it's a birthday party.
That's a look at the national weather. Here's a look at the weather where you are.
Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandy Grace. We are seeing mostly clear skies over southern Nevada. A few clouds to the north, but we're going to see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies today. Not too warm, though. Looking for a high right around 69 degrees. Have a great day.
Oh, by the way, I should mention, Bill's got a new movie coming out.
There's always a new movie coming out. Stick around, it'll be on cable eventually.
Kingpin. Thanks, Bill. This weather report brought to you by Buena Vista Home Video is 37 past the hour. Joan?
All right, now, the way they were. Today's stars before they made it big.
When Good Morning America is the 20th anniversary celebration, we're going to show you some of the stars when they were just young kids.
I thought that was going to be like singing in the rain, because you figure two guys and a girl.
One of the big kicks at this job is to be able to say we knew them when, and there have been quite a few of today's superstars of whom we have been able to say just that.
So join us now as we catch a rising star.
Do you have television on outer space?
Oh, yes, we've been monitoring your television for years. My favorite is I Love Lucy, Babaloo, also the Honeymooners.
Hey, Norton! I don't know if we should tell them. We're doing one about a story, guy who is a mechanic who loses his tools, quest for pliers, and...
David, you've had a lot of offers. What do you want to do?
What I really would like to do is announce customer specials at Corvettes.
What do you think it is that you do that's different than other talk show hosts that's making you so successful?
Well, this is, I thank God for Baltimore, because I work with a wonderful guy there named Richard Scher, and I learned a lot from him, and perhaps what I learned most was that honesty is what counts in your life and what counts in television.
I grew up on watching television, you know, Sesame Street. I was the Sesame Street baby, you know, and then going from the Brady Bunch to Little House on the Prairie when I was 5. It's true. I changed my name to Laura Ingalls.
I like myself. I believe in myself, and I'm really excited to see where the rest of my life is going to take me. It can go anywhere now.
Has this been what you expected or what you hoped?
Well, it's something that I always wanted to do. The only reason I started modeling was to hopefully make the transition, because as you said, there are a lot of people that have done that, you know, especially in recent years. But yeah, it's everything I ever hoped it would be.
Will you sign my arm? And, you know, I signed Elvis. No, she said, sign your name. And I said, okay. And I signed her name. She said, I loved you in that movie. And she named one of Beau Bridges' movies. And I went, no, that's Beau Bridges. Who are you? And I said, I'm John Ritter. Do you want me to erase that? And she said, no, I'll wash it off later. It's fine.
I find that the actual hassles of life are not as bad as I thought they would be. You know, I'm quite free to come and go as I please. There's nothing about hordes of people at the airport. No.
Does it bother you in any way to play a homosexual role?
No, not at all, because in taking the role, I had a lot of apprehensions about it. But I knew that if I could take this character and make him a person, and make him real and honest and vulnerable, that it would be a tremendous challenge. So it didn't bother me at all.
What does it take to become successful, and how tough is it for you compared to men?
I think it's hard to be a man comic, actually.
Harder?
Yeah, because they're generally not funny or intelligent.
Ah, yes, they've seen them come, they've seen them go.
They've actually helped some of them go. When we come back, our Hollywood reporters, Chantal, Joel Siegel, Rona Barrett, when our 20th anniversary celebration continues. Stay with us.
It looks like New York. It feels like New York. It's almost perfect.
What are you doing? Up, Tony!
44 minutes after, America's thirst for entertainment news is seemingly unquenchable, and now more so than ever. From the beginning, the best have covered the beat for Good Morning America.
From 1975 to 1981, Rona Barrett dished up more scoops than Haagen-Dazs, I think. Joel Siegel, he blinks whenever he's under our lights because he has spent so many years in darkened movie theaters to shed critical light on Hollywood's hits and misses. And for 10 years, Chantal has gone one-on-one with a who's who of the top stars to reveal what's behind the mask. Chantal has changed hair color in the last few weeks, in the service of this program, I should say. In the service of the show.
So have I not in the service of this program.
Mine's still the same.
Rona,
Yeah.
when you think back on all this, first of all, when the show started, did you think that it was going to be a success?
Yes,
Did
I
you?
did, because I thought it was time for counter-programming opposite that other show on that other network. Right, I did. And also because I knew that this network had given a 2-year commitment to this show. And I thought that the concept which Fred Silverman had come up with once he had come aboard ABC was the right concept, a family of experts and people who would rotate the wheel. And I thought it was a terrific idea, and I thought we were a great family, and I think you guys are a pretty great family, too.
When you look back on it, do you remember interviews in those years that you were here?
Oh, there were so many, Charlie. You know, we were breaking ground in those days. People just never did those kinds of interviews. But I think the one that I will always remember was my Bette Midler interview. It was in the very beginning days. I don't think she'd even gone to movies yet. And in this interview, I believe she was the first celebrity to really cry on camera. And from that moment on, Woody Fraser, who was our executive producer, would then say to me, if they're not crying, I don't want them. That was the truth.
Chantal, how about you?
Well, usually the ones that stay in my mind the most are the ones that stay in my heart the most. Elizabeth Glaser certainly comes to mind because she was so courageous in her battle against AIDS, but certainly Michael Landon was a guy who you never forget talking to, because he was a man who was so aware, and on many levels it's a gift, a strange gift, but it's a gift to know you have a certain amount of time left on this earth.
Did you know he was like my brother? Did you know I lived with him?
You lived with Michael Landon?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But not,
Story, folks, a story.
Not that way. With he and his wife, we grew up together.
Well, then you know how remarkable he was.
He was. He was the most talented man.
Yeah.
Most talented man. From the
Joel
werewolf
got
days.
us started yesterday. You came in here and said to everybody, what do you think is the best movie and the most important movie of the last 20 years? And everybody was coming up with their picks. What about...
My pick's most influential movie the last 20 years, Jaws. Really changed Hollywood. The first blockbuster. Before Jaws, they were happy hitting singles and doubles. After Jaws, every film up had to be a home run. Really changed the way Hollywood does business. The best movie of the last 20 years, this is tough.
Yeah,
Raging Bull is my pick. Critics, with almost unanimity, picked it the best movie of the decade of the 80s, and it's just a great, great film. Films that you want to say Godfather 1 and 2 don't qualify. Chinatown doesn't qualify. Beauty and the Beast may do it.
Well, and I want to tell you, we have been debating this, and we're going to go on debating it for... We got one memorable moment that you've got to mention, because you go out every year. You and Chantal are out at the Oscars every year. You got to mention this great
14 years, I've interviewed virtually every Oscar winner the night they won. This is a piece of an interview that never made air. Whoopi Goldberg. One of the questions I ask, when you do an interview, it's like casting. It's like fishing. You never know what's going to come up. I always ask, where's the Oscar going to go? And Whoopi is holding her Oscar. She won for Ghost, and she says, I don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to spin tonight with me. And then she held it up and said, where do the batteries go?
And since this is morning television, you know why that one didn't exactly make the air. Go, Whoopi.
What that means, no, I guess not. No, no.
Don't go there.
Don't go there. So Rona, what are you doing now?
I'm riding the range, Charlie.
That's right. You moved
I have a little
away from
wonderful farm. There is life after show business of sorts. And I'm raising paint horses and having a wonderful grand time, and I'm riding again.
And people still call you when there's a Hollywood story and want to know?
Find out
You know, that's the most amazing thing. People still think I'm on Good Morning America.
You are.
They keep saying, did I miss you today, or something like that. It's wonderful to be back.
Once you're a part of
we
this,
always have missed you. It's
once
so
you're a
great
part
to
of this
see
for a
you.
while, you're a part of it forever, and it's terrific to have you back. Joel, Chantal, great to see you. Nice to have you on the East Coast. Too.
Absolutely. We're going to be catching up with more old friends as the morning continues.
And we're going to take a break. We'll be back. Good Morning America's special 20th anniversary celebration continues. Going to go talk to some of the folks who are with us.
Hi, I'm Clint Eastwood. Happy 20th anniversary. Good Morning America.
Later, that tape will show up on cable. Everywhere we look around here with us this morning, familiar faces, I suspect very familiar faces to you as well. Some of the early family members that were here at the beginning. Right here, if you'd stand up, Jack Anderson is here.
Right.
Jack, who was our investigative reporter, reported on Washington for us back in 1975, still a nationally syndicated columnist. The memories that return when you come back?
That was the golden age of investigative reporting. We broke a lot of big ones on Good Morning America.
But you had to file, how often were you on? You were on every day, weren't you?
Every day for about 2 minutes. Crammed as much, shoehorned as much news as we could in 2 minutes.
And still doing the column. You still love it?
Still doing the column, doing investigative reports for television, radio. Head the Grace Commission, Citizens Against Government Waste. I keep busy.
Now, I'm asking everybody the same question, but when you started this foolishness, did you ever think it would last?
Yeah, actually I did. I had a lot of long talks with Bob Shanks. He persuaded me, convinced me.
Did it take some convincing?
Well, yeah, a little. I was on AM America before Good Morning America, and he persuaded me to stay with it. I did.
Jack Hanna is here, who has brought... You keep motioning me out of the way of the hawk here. Stand up, and we'll leave the hawk here. Jack has gotten me in a good deal of trouble over the years, including the first time you were on, and what happened?
The fox bit you right in the blood vessel in the back of the hand. But you never missed a beat.
Boy, did he get me. Right as we're coming out of commercial, the fox clamped on, towel went over the hand, bleeding all the way through the segment. We did it just fine. Jack, it's great to have you here.
I remember that day well, and he said, you didn't tell me about this part. All right, also, I have a bit of trivia here. Al Ubell, he was our first handyman. The guy that always made us look like we didn't know what to do around the house. Fondest memory?
Oh, fondest memory is when I was demonstrating the hammer.
Yes.
And you were standing on my left.
Yes.
I recall that vividly. And I missed the nail, and the blood was like all over.
He smashed the dickens out of his thumb.
And she lost her dialogue. She was so...
I felt so bad for you.
So I knew your part. So I...
I felt so bad.
And then when it went for commercial, I started to scream, and the crew came over and
I just
bandaged,
became
and
Nurse
the blood
Joan.
was all over the place, and that was really an unusual segment.
Good to
I'll
have you
remember
back.
it all. It's my pleasure.
Spencer?
I'm with Tom Sullivan, Joan, who was on this show from 1978 to 1983.
And everybody looks great.
Thank you, Tom.
They haven't aged. It's a perfect setting. I'll tell you, Hartman is looking a little slow to me.
I always said you had closer to 20/20 insight to this show than anybody else on the show.
You know, we broke some ground here. I had a chance, thanks to David's willingness to trust a blind correspondent out there in the field doing stories, to change the perspective on disability in this country, and I'm very grateful
Tom
to this
Sullivan,
show.
nothing blind about you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Spencer.
Charlie?
All right, Tom, thank you, Spencer. Good Morning America's 20th anniversary celebration continues. Just a moment.
Well, our look may have changed over the years, but the words and the sentiment have always stayed the same. Good morning, America. I'm Joan London.
And I'm Charles Gibson. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. Party on, Joan. Party on, Spencer. It is Thursday, November 3rd, our special 20th anniversary celebration.
Yo, Charlie. I'm Spencer Christian. All this morning, as you can hear, with the help of our friend Marvin Hamlish, we're taking a look back at, to borrow one of his song titles, The Way We Were.
Now, he not only wrote that song, one of my favorites.
But he also wrote our Good Morning America theme.
And after 20 years, we felt it was about time that he wrote something else for us. So he has, and this time he has even put some words to it. And his latest creation will have its premiere at the end of today's show.
I wish you could be here during the commercial breaks, because Marvin and the group have been playing during the breaks.
Great.
And a little tender trap during the commercial. It's just great to hear him. Coming up in this half hour, we are going to hear from some of the terrific reporters who filed their earliest stories for us. One name that might surprise you, Kathy Lee Johnson. Gifford, who met Frank Gifford on this program. They're both going to be here. Geraldo Rivera, one of the reporters at the beginning of Good Morning America here. Steve Fox, we're going to be talking to in a few moments. They've got a lot of stories to tell.
And John Coleman is coming back to do another weather duet with me.
Absolutely. First, though, the latest news of the morning from Morton Dean. Good morning, Mort.
Good morning and happy anniversary. Good morning, everyone. The U.S.
If there's no triple letters or double words. Or Thanks, Mort. Mort's going to be coming over here in a few moments after he does the 8:30 newscast. Spencer has had a lot of highs and lows here on Good Morning America.
Some of them have even been at the weather map. We thought we would take this opportunity, though, to remind you of some of them.
He's a big fan of mine. Mr. Blobby he loves my photos, don't you? I hope it's not the Blobby mating season. You know how earlier I showed you how Zip can chase snowflakes? Get him, Zip, get him. Well, Zip has taught this old dog new tricks. Look.
This here is the John Bobbitt
weather pattern.
Cold front.
Hey, what's it like down in Florida today, Spencer?
I think it's going to be hot, Tom.
What a surprise for this time of year.
Right. Thank you very much for serving me, and enjoy your day.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. What you've just witnessed here is not exactly an episode from Dynasty, but actually it's Roots, the final chapter. David? Oh, anything to make David laugh. All right. The big weather maker on today's map is this cold front, which has swept through the east and brought colder temperatures behind it. It's also brought some snow up in the Great Lakes and the upper Mississippi Valley. Scattered showers along the North Atlantic coast today. Heavier rainfall along the South Atlantic coast. The Gulf Coast will see a shower or two. But it's clearing out in the plains, the Mississippi Valley, the Rockies looking pretty good, and the far western states. High temperatures have dropped significantly behind that front. They will reach only into the teens and 20s over a good portion of the north central states. Still warm in the southeast, where highs will be in the 80s today and over the weekend. Look for basically dry and cold weather in the mid-Atlantic.
Kathy Lee Johnson was her name then, and she met her husband, Frank Gifford, right here in this studio while learning her craft with us from 1982 to 1986. And also, of course, as a substitute co-host right here.
And we are happy to have Geraldo Rivera with us this morning as well. He brought his own dynamic brand of reporting to Good Morning America from 1975 to 77. Can't forget Steve Fox, who has driven the back and main roads of this country for the last 15 years. Steve knows every single highway in America. And last but not least, the baby of the group, Nancy Snyder.
Okay. You like that? That's good. This is good.
She has reported on medical and other concerns for us these last 8 years.
But let's get right to it. You guys wouldn't be married if it wasn't for this show. I mean, right here on this sofa.
What do you want, commission?
Yeah, absolutely. But we remember the day. It was Thanksgiving, 1982.
You're not going to show
that
this.
we have a little clip.
Specifically you, I think, Joan. Because
Yes,
you were supposed to be there and you didn't show up.
Oh, well,
I think you had the flu or something.
All right, well, see what I did
That's
for
the story you told and you're sticking to it.
Anything for you, Kathy. Let's take a look at that moment. I think it's rather obvious something was going on.
My mother thought so.
Good morning, I'm Frank Gifford with Kathy Lee Johnson. David and Joan are off today. It's Friday the 26th of November. And how was your turkey day, Kathy?
I don't want to talk about it. I ate so much. How about you?
You don't look it.
Well, he'll show tomorrow.
You don't that witty I like that line. You don't look it.
How did you all ever give me a job?
What were you thinking at that moment, Frank?
And did you see that bags under those eyes?
I saw the look in your
You know,
eyes,
I used to do
Frank.
the show. I would prefer to do it on the way home instead of coming in to do it. I mean, the hour has killed me.
But did you have any idea, Kathy, at all that he was interested in you?
No. He was just so nice to me, as everybody who around here knows. I mean, he was just nice to everybody. And one time when I was in for you, he was actually watching me at home. And you're so much taller than I am, and they had the seat exactly the way you have it every day, but I'm 3 or 4 inches shorter than you. So I was going like this, and Frank called me up here, and he goes, "Have them move the camera, you look like a turkey." You know, I mean,
She was like that.
I was straining, and so they got the little board underneath, and I finally looked like I belonged here, you know. So.
Did you think at the time? Did you look
No,
at her?
as a matter of fact, I was married at the time, and I tried to fix her up with my best friend.
That's right, I remember that.
I was married, and I tried to fix up with Timmy Mara and, well, I guess
Johnny
Tish, and I thought that would be a real good
Boy, I could really be rolling in rocks now.
Geraldo,
You're
back
on a
to
pretty
the
good
early
roll
days.
if it is.
Sorry.
Actually, Frank and I have been hanging out since 1970. We often came to work on the way home. One time I was substituting for David. He often went in the field, and I was very excited about that, but I overslept. I actually went home. I lived on 64th Street. And I didn't wake up until 20 to 7. And obviously I was hosting the show, I had to be here. I jumped in the shower. I literally sprinted the 3 blocks down to the studio. And I sat down at 2 minutes to 7. I was sweating, my hair was still soaking wet. The TV lights dried it some, but my heart was pounding for the whole first segment.
Now, you also went away to do a story for us, the Madonna Inn, I think it was called. It was a getaway hotel.
I did a lot of those fun ones.
And you kind of came clean, so to speak, during that particular report. I think we've got some tape
We
of
do
that.
have a clip. Yes.
Oh, yes.
I can't wait to see this.
From the Madonna Inn, San Luis Obispo, I'm Geraldo Rivera. Peace and good morning, America. Good morning, America.
It always comes back.
And I'm still taking my clothes off.
Geraldo offered a lot of money for that clip. But we had to play it.
We had it.
Anyway, Steve Fox, I mentioned all the back roads that you've traveled.
What do you
But
have?
I suspect if I ask you a most important story, it's not going to be on the roads of this country. It would be in Europe?
Oh, yeah. It absolutely. It was 1989 when the Berlin Wall came down. Freddie Dorn and I had been there just a month earlier doing a story about the anniversary of the Berlin airlift. And we had no idea. We were talking to people about the wall then, and they said, no, this is going to be up for the rest of our life. A month later, the thing came down. And I flew over, and I ran into Peter Jennings. I'd just gotten off the red eye, and I said, I'm going to bed. And he says, no, you can't do it. He says, you got to go on out there and see what's happening. And I had never seen people as stunned, as astonished and as joyful as they were. They were walking the streets of Berlin like they couldn't believe, obviously they couldn't believe this was happening. It was an astonishing event.
Yeah, it was an amazing
I remember
feeling
that morning.
in those pieces that you filed. And Nance, I suspect you're going to pick out not medical stories, but a week we spent together overseas.
Yeah, I've been very lucky because not only do I get to fill in for Joan periodically and I get to cover medicine, but I also get to sort of cover normal stuff. I think the time you and I spent in Saudi Arabia during Desert Shield before the war broke out was phenomenal. I got to report on the role of women, and it was an extraordinary experience. And a lot of times I think the morning shows get singled out for doing fluff. It's a real misconception. We do some hard, good stuff, and the work I did in Somalia was the best reporting I ever did in my life. And I think we have so many times brought disasters and very touching global stories back to the United States and said to America, this is happening. I think we put a very human face on it on this show.
But the medical information, too, that you bring people, morning after morning, affects their daily lives.
Well, it's true, and I must say, ABC, I think, has been extraordinary. Who would think that a show could have 2 physicians and allow Tim and me to cover things and to complement each other? It's quite visionary to give 2 physicians full reign and say, cover the stuff that's near and dear to your hearts.
Well, they've just started recognizing women in the field of medicine and so many diseases, as you have reported, so it's only appropriate.
Yeah, and it's great. And I must say, working with Tim is great. I always say we have the gentleman from Boston who covers the East Coast and is an internist, and then you have that wild woman from the West Coast who's the surgeon. And somehow Tim and I just seem to do it very, very well
This sort of
together.
strange. I always say about Nancy, yes, people ask, and I say, yes, she's a full-time surgeon out in California. She just does this TV business as a hobby, filling in for Joe.
It's
It
true.
is terrific to see all of you.
Can't you just see one of her patients? She's about to go, what's Joan London really like?
I wait till they're out to tell them.
During the commercial break, we'll ask Kathy Lee and Frank what really went on this couch, and maybe we'll tell you when we come back. But we're going to take a commercial break. More memories of our Good Morning America family when we continue.
On any prevention, and it's so simple for people to prevent this disease. Go to your veterinarian, have your dog have a simple blood test on an annual basis. If it's free, the disease.
Hello, I'm Lee Bailey, the original legal advisor for Good Morning America. It's been a great run. Happy 20th anniversary.
And he just passed the vests on to Arthur Miller when Arthur took over in 1980. It is 19 minutes after the hour. We want to talk to some more of the people who have been with the show over the 20 years. Great to see some of the faces again. Those of you who are real students of Good Morning America, everybody remembers Steve Bell did the news on the show for so long. But the first year he was doing the news, he was doing it in tandem with Margaret Osborne, who is right here. Have you stand out there. And Margaret Osborne then went on to run the foreign policy of the United States, which she has been doing for a long time since then. But you guys, there's sitting in front of a brown board in Washington doing the news. Do you remember all those days?
Well, I remember very well that I had 3 days' notice that they wanted me to do it. And that when I got there, I was interested in Kathy's comment about the chair because, in fact, some of you may have noticed that Steve's shoulders are a little broader than mine, and they thought he took up a little more of the screen. So the way they wanted to deal with it was to roll up my chair, and they rolled up my chair so high that my feet didn't touch the floor. And I want to tell you, it's a little hard to be authoritative early in the morning when your feet don't touch the floor.
It is great to see you, Meg. Thanks for coming back to join us. Spencer?
Okay, I'm over here, Charlie, with Mike Schneider, who for a long time did the news segments here. ABC News, Good Morning America, filled in for Charlie, and was always throwing clever little zingers at me on the weather.
Well, you were so easily zung.
Zing, those are strings in my heart. Good to see you again. For some of your most memorable moments here, do you have any?
No, I was not noted for coming into work in a good mood. I do remember the time we had Bert Parks on the show, God bless him, and in the co-op segment, the cutaway segment, which a lot of the country doesn't see, but we saw, you and Joan and I were trying to ask him some questions, and you asked him one question. I don't remember the question, but I remember the answer. He looked you dead in the eye and said, "Well, Fletcher."
He did indeed. Well, my most memorable moment with Mike was one morning when he was closing out the news segment just before weather with a story on how monkeys are now being trained to perform various human tasks like computer functions. And I thought I was being clever by saying, I hear they're even training them to do news now, Mike. And Mike said, they've already got them doing weather.
Jokes like that did wonders for Howard Cosell's career, too. So.
Thank you, Mike.
He's not in too much trouble. I'm over here with Helen Gurley Brown, who has been the editor of Cosmopolitan magazine for many years. She was also one of the very first contributors on this program right at its inception. What's it like to be back?
It's wonderful to be back. I was here for 3 years every Friday morning. David
That's right,
and I,
every Friday morning.
Nancy and Sandy Hill, and it was like a family.
Advice?
It still is. Well, yeah, we got letters from readers. We got letters from people watching, and like a woman would be married for 6 months and she was in love with her brother-in-law, or there was a girl who had been engaged but her fiance had Epstein-Barr syndrome and she was 20 years old. What does she do? And Nancy took all that pretty well, but Sandy Hill came in and said, "What is this garbage this way?" I think we got Geraldo Rivero started because we were early on with that kind of discussion.
Well, you remember this. We're out of time, right?
Oh, okay, I remember this.
We'll be back. Thanks, Ellen.
Friend beside me just said, that's the old theme. Do you remember me? I'm Sandy Hill, and I'm here with a whole bunch of your other old friends. Good morning, America.
And Good Morning America, I'm Joan London.
She doesn't look old at all. Good morning, everyone. I'm Charles Gibson. It is Friday, November 3rd. We welcome you to our 20th anniversary celebration. I don't know about you at home, but we are having a terrific time. And if the sounds that you're hearing do sound familiar, it's because Sandy Hill said those immortal words every day for 3 years, sitting alongside David Hartman.
And they're both going to be joining us in this half hour, along with 2 other family members, Nancy Dussault and Steve Bell. And also ahead, of course, that wonderful man, Marvin Hamlish, who wrote our song, the Good Morning America theme. And he's been with us all morning long. And he also has a special treat coming up for us in this half hour. He has written a song just for this special occasion. And bringing it to life will be the powerhouse star of Broadway's Smokey Joe's Cafe, the Tony-nominated B.J. Crosby.
Now, I got to tell you, we work a long time, and we worry about the content of this broadcast. And we, every day at the end of the show, say, did we do the right show today? Did we have the right news? And we go out of the studio, and what does everybody want to talk about? Joan's hair. We are bringing you now the length, breadth, and width of London's hair over the years. All right, you can vote on which one you like by calling 1-800.
They're teasing me.
I actually have a favorite in all that.
Do
this
you?
one, this one, yes, okay. Let's get right to the news.
That's the politically correct answer, my dear.
Let's get to the news of the morning and Morton Dean. Morton.
Okay, thank you, Charlie, Joan, and happy anniversary, everyone. Good morning again. An eviction, ABC News. It is 33 minutes after. The party goes on, Spence.
Sorry, Mort, John
I'm on my
Coleman's
way.
joining me again. Okay, they just told us to move to our left. I said, who's left? Coleman says we got the same left.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
We have a segment coming up on supermodels.
Right.
And we got Christy Brinkley, we got Twiggy, we got all these beautiful babes.
Right.
Okay, they come over from the hotel, they're just out of the shower. They bring them all into the dressing room for their makeup and hair. In walks Joan London, also just out of the shower. Joan London was prettier than all the supermodels put together.
Whoa.
And I worked with her. Yes. That's all.
Well, you know what? That's the weather, folks. Here's a look at the weather where you are.
Good morning, everyone.
Really nice or really lousy where you are today.
Look out your window.
Okay, we just check outside the window. Moments we remember.
Charlie and I look back when Good Morning America continues.
Happy 20th anniversary, everyone, to Good Morning America. You know, Joan, I saw the hairdos the other day. Woo, surprising you still have that job. Wow. You know the worst part about your show? Charlie and Spencer, because if it weren't for you two men, I'd be waking up all alone with Joan London. Good morning, America.
Many people preserve the most memorable moments of their lives between the pages of scrapbooks, while ours, of course, are on video.
And so Joan and I recently sat down to reminisce about the personal highlights of our years here at Good Morning America. People always ask about the experiences of doing this program. The thing you didn't warn me about was how varied the experiences. There's an awful lot of news, immersion.
Being there as history happens, being there as presidents are inaugurated.
Still not very much happening out here in front of the Capitol this morning, but of course maybe that's because it's 2 below.
Joan is in Sarajevo. Hi, Joan.
It's hard for me to believe that I was in Sarajevo for 10 days covering the Olympics there. And here it is today in
Tatters.
tatters.
Most memorable interviews, though, for me, have to do with situation rather than people.
Yeah.
And I think talking to those soldiers
Randy Johnson from
in different venues around Saudi Arabia, those soldiers, knowing that probably within a few months they would be actively engaged in fighting.
So you would be the most upfront troops, in effect. And
The people after Oklahoma City, after the bombing.
You'd actually pulled the baby from the wreckage?
Yes,
through Belfast, separating poor Protestant and Catholic communities.
Florida, the area that Hurricane Andrew hit hardest. San Francisco earthquakes that hit this area so hard.
You might remember Jamie going with me to the home of Anne Frank and reading from her diaries.
I'm also very afraid that we shall be discovered and be shot.
Mommy, why was Anne so frightened that she would get shot?
Only because of her religion.
It's a little bit like watching your children grow up. A very memorable week for our family when older daughter Jessica graduated from college in the same week that younger daughter Kate graduated from high school. I remember when we were going through the South, you remember we just stopped the buses once along a river and we found this rope swing.
And there are also spontaneous moments here on the program. I've been bitten by a gorilla.
Ow, 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 he also bites.
Did he? I hope you don't mind, too.
She's got 3 at home, now she's got 2 here.
Just like home, you know what I mean?
Jack?
You know I don't like reptiles, snakes and spiders and things.
Look at this here, I got this for you. Oh, my God. No, it's not.
Have you ever gotten
If that thing ever got
bitten?
slammed on you, that would be
Or
on
like
my...
it's
When it comes.
There goes the egg.
He was scared, Jack.
I remember interviewing Reuben Blades one morning. He was on the set of his movie, I think it was Predator 2. We had just been talking about how much input the actor has.
Hello, who's that?
We've got to go right now. I'm shooting right now.
This is the director and calling me back to shoot something.
You want to tell him that we're live on the air and we'll be through with you in just a moment?
Get it off. We're out of here.
The unpredictability of live television.
This is a very interesting pair of shoes that we have on this morning.
You get dressed in the dark, you try not to wake up the family, and sometimes you slip up. With friends like this, who needs anything else?
Disappointed in me. What are friends for,
Okay, so they didn't match. I mean, big darn deal. The old joke, I had another pair like that right at home, right? Okay. Take a commercial break. Next, the man who started it all, David
Good
Hartman.
Morning America continues.
I'm David Hartman. Today is Monday, November the 3rd, and we'll be joining you here every weekday morning with news and comments, filmed reports, and perhaps some aid and comfort to the bogged down. Most of all, we want to try to provide you with information that'll be useful to you.
And for all of you, those of you who were bogged down with those words, what would soon become a morning institution for millions of Americans was born.
It is hard to believe it's been 20 years since Good Morning America first went on the air, but joining us now, the man who was there at the very beginning, who manned the Good Morning America helm for more than 11 years, David Hartman. So good to have you back. We always said it would be hard. It would be hard to top this job, and it does afford you so many unbelievable opportunities.
Joan, certainly. I mean, that's what we've been seeing and hearing and remembering this morning are a lot of these opportunities in so many different ways, whether it's politics or medicine, listening to Dr. Snyderman and Dr. Johnson talk about it, all these different areas. There were several, of course, for me. One, my first trip to Africa. But to go up into the mountains and the rainforest to find the mountain gorillas, there are only about 600 of them left now. And of course, this was in Rwanda, which is has become a tragedy. And these animals are very threatened, but there are a lot of efforts, African Wildlife Foundation and others trying to save these animals. It's coincidental that Mrithi, who was the silverback, the head of that group, was the only one that was killed as a result of the war. That was one opportunity. Totally different experience when the B-1 bomber, which had been such a contentious item for a long time, was about to fly. I went and flew the B-1 bomber, but then tragically that man in the blue suit right there, the chief test pilot for Rockwell, was killed a month later. But he was killed doing what test pilots love to do, which is to fly airplanes. But also to be with Jimmy Cagney, who was wonderful, and Betty Davis, and there's Jim.
Stupid.
Many years ago, one of the sweetest.
That was not a reference to David.
Well, it might have been. And this woman who is just one of the
by replacement.
strong, tough, wonderful Betty Davis, who wound up in the hospital with a stroke and mastectomy and toughed it all out, and she was a great woman. So these were just a few examples.
You know, you make such a good point. We have turned to each other, Joan and I, so many times, and we have said to each other, we're getting paid to do this.
That's right.
And
how many people have the opportunity to spend 10 hours a week with the opportunity and responsibility to try to inform people in a human way, in an accurate way, with useful information. I mean, how good does it get?
Well, the answer to the question is 6. And to get to be 2 of those 6, it's really a treat.
So, and a privilege.
We're going to take a commercial break. David is going to stay with us, and we will have other memories of Good Morning America's first family, Sandy Hill, Nancy Dussault, Steve Bell. They began it all when Good Morning America continues.
That's right. The answer is 6. Good Morning America's 20th anniversary party continues in your home. To order a video cassette of our month-long celebration, from behind-the-scenes interviews never seen on the air to more than 25 historical for GMA. The tape is $25. Please allow 6 to 8 weeks for delivery.
Good Morning America, I'm David Hartman.
I know you.
I know.
Are you in a time warp?
What?
Do you remember me?
I have been in a time warp.
Me too. I didn't know 20 years had elapsed.
Well, it hasn't, Sandy, it hasn't.
Oh, okay.
It's
What is it I see in the mirror then when I look there?
There they were.
That was then.
Sandy and I sat just this way, side by side, for 4 years here in the studio. Steve Bell was with us, certainly doing the news. He's here too. And before Sandy, Nancy Dussault was my first co-host for the first couple of years of the program back in 75, 76, 77, and she is joining us this morning from Los Angeles.
And it doesn't look like 20 years has elapsed for her either. You look great.
Bless your heart, but
you do.
Good morning.
No, good morning, Nancy. Wow.
Hey, Nancy.
I'm so envious of you all being there. I'm really heartsick I couldn't be there.
Nancy, yeah, but you're working, right?
I am. I'm doing a splendid revival of the musical Candide at the Amundsen, and it's just, it's thrilling.
How fabulous.
Charlie, do you notice how David just took the show right over?
You should.
I just wanted to point that out.
Something. Nancy, remember the gumball machine?
Oh, God, please. I never get over how courageous this show made me. We had to do absolutely everything, remember?
That's right.
We did commercials. I did the weather for about 4 days, which was probably a total disaster.
Was that with Bill Murray or on your own?
Oh, I was on my own. There were contract negotiations going on. I was on my own.
And also, I think the bread demonstration that I recall you doing, the bread demonstration comparing qualities of bread was very good. No, they don't have it.
Oh.
I didn't mention it to him.
Oh, okay.
I know you're sorry we're going to miss it.
You know what's great for me to see? I love it, the way David turns right around. You feel so at home with the monitor, the old monitor that you used to have.
That's right.
Always felt at home with the monitor.
Me and my monitor.
Listen, we've got to do...
You all look great.
You too.
We've got to do a little catch-up. Nancy just mentioned that she's out in Los Angeles getting ready to do Candide. Steve Bell is here. Everybody always asks, where are they? Steve Bell, terrific Professor Bell. You got to tell people where you are now.
Yes.
Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, and Ball Professor of Telecommunications.
You always wanted to teach. You finally did it.
I went to college to teach and got diverted for 35 years.
Let me tell you something. I've worked with Steve for a lot of times, and any student out there is lucky to have you.
Amen.
Nobody is going to be a better teacher.
Listen, Charlie, Steve Bell was my teacher because I came to this with,
well, that old actor who was going to ask questions.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this was my teacher, and there could not be a better one from the business than this gentleman right here.
And then David passed it on to me.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, hear a new song from Marvin Hamlish. I just got to tell you,
Nancy, see you in a minute.
There is great feeling in this room. It's because we all feel such allegiance to this franchise, to this broadcast. It is a part of all of us, and it is great to have all of you back. We'll be back after a commercial break. All of you, just on my part, for coming. Thank you so very much. Wonderful to have you here.
And it's been wonderful to have Marvin Hamlish here and to sing a special song for our 20th anniversary that he composed, B.J. Crosby, off-Broadway, Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Marvin,
Take it away.
BJ, take it away.
Right.
John. electric Jones, ever-changing hand. It's a brand new day. Say hello to Gma'S. When the years is coming, gonna be ready, yes indeed. And to make this more than there is enough. Don't forget Julia Child and Will Black Cross. Chantel and John, you're in love. Wanna smile, just trust me. Don't forget I'm a mom and Catherine Lee. I said, I'm a mom and Catherine Lee. Hey, hey. I'm a mom and Catherine Lee. The pioneer. They stand and sleep. In every kid. And little baby, my friend. Each and every day. So here's to friend. Say hello to Gma'S. Say hello to Gma'S. Hey, hello, loving in the morning, love to see at night. Sugar mommy, hello Gma'S. Say hello, hello
Travel provided by Continental Airlines with business first to Europe. First class comfort at a business class fare. Continental, it's more airline for your money.
Good Morning America is a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Saturday, what a night of stars. First, your favorite celebrities as you've never seen them before.
Oh, go on.
It's an all-new Before They Were Stars. Then the planet turns Hollywood with all the stars you could ever imagine.
Yes!
Join hosts Arnold, Bruce, Demi, and Sly when Planet Hollywood comes home. Saturday, all the stars come together on A Beatles C.
Lois and Clark meet Metropolis's other perfect couple, but are they out to eliminate the competition? Jonathan Frakes and Jeannie Francis guest on Lois and Clark, Sunday on ABC. Traveling